Weeks before the general elections were announced, Prime Minister Denys Barrow announced two major settlements, Belize Electricity Limited and Belize Telemedia Limited. Both matters have reached for judgment at the Caribbean Court of Justice, and it was expected that the CCJ would have handed down its judgments very soon. Well, the Bar Association is still expecting that and so passed a resolution last week to file an application for the CCJ to stay on the legal proceedings. The Bar Association says that it is best for the public for the CCJ to rule on the controversial Eighth Amendment, but senior counsel Denys Barrow says that the Bar Association is wasting its time in its politically motivated move.
At the meeting of the association, I presented a paper which set out the reasons why it is entirely inappropriate for them to make that application. Unfortunately, for, I think, political reasons, those who were putting forward the resolution rallied their troops, and in my view, a clear political vote was taken that they should go forward and make this application to the CCJ to allow them, as non-parties, to say to the CCJ what they think the CCJ should do. I think it is outrageous. I share that with them. I was voted down, and that is it. The former shareholders of BTL, the former shareholders of BEL, and the government of Belize have agreed that the case is finished. Money has been paid, the property which has been taken away has been paid for, and the parties have agreed that the case should finish. Therefore, they are asking, because there will be some other things which need to be done over the next number of months, they're asking, instead of discontinuing the case, they're asking the CCJ to stay it upon agreed terms. So it is an agreed position between the parties to the case. My personal view, and it is very important that I emphasize this, so I am not seeking to speak for anybody or speak with any authority, but the advice which I try to give them is that they are wasting their time.
The government of Belize has to pay an initial $162,700,000 Belize dollars in order to settle over Belize Telemedia Limited. However, Prime Minister Denys Barrow is still waiting on the decision of the arbitration tribunal, which will determine the final reward for the value of the shares. What this means is that the government will still have to pay more for the shares. The actual amount is not known at this time, since the government used the NERA value to place a value of $1.44 a share, while Lord Michael Ashcroft is claiming up to $10 per share. The opposition People's United Party has criticized the settlement and further stated that the decision of the tribunal is basically a blank check that the government has signed to Lord Ashcroft. Attorney for the government senior counsel Denys Barrow disagrees.
The notion that it is a blank check is a misconception, because Belize was taken to arbitration against the wishes of this present government. But we have had to accept, the nation of Belize has had to accept, that if a foreign investor takes you to arbitration pursuant to a treaty which we entered into from the 1980s, then the arbitration has to proceed. That we owe money for compulsorily acquiring the properties of the former shareholders is a given. So we owe them. So whether or not any settlement had been reached, we owed the people. And the tribunal to decide how much is to be paid, that is the arbitration tribunal. We cannot get out of it. That is not a decision that this government made. It is a situation which exists as a matter of law, and that is something we cannot get out of.
Senior counsel Barrow expects that the decisions of the arbitration tribunal will be handed down in the next couple of months. Senior counsel Denys Barrow is not only the attorney for the government of Belize, but also the brother of Prime Minister Denys Barrow. In that regard, the People's United Party and other activist groups have accused the Prime Minister of nepotism and points to the millions of dollars in legal fees for the years he collects for representing the government in the legal war over BTL and BEL. However, Barrow told the media today that as a senior attorney, he charges what a senior attorney should charge.
It is political mischief, and one expects it in the course of a political campaign. Regrettably, there is not any kind of corruption, any kind of shady dealing on the part of Denys Barrow that they can point to. So what they do is they say, because I charge the usual fee that a very senior attorney will charge, and the government pays this for my services, they are saying that this is nepotism, that this is something which should reflect badly upon Denys Barrow. I regret that they have seen fit to do this, because they all know that the fees that I charge are the same fees as lawyers at my level of practice, my experience of practicing would charge. I would love to give you a bill of costs, for instance, that Lord Goldsmith submitted and is seeking to get the government of Belize to pay, where he is charging £1,000 an hour for his services, whereas I charge, along with other senior lawyers, at the rate of 1,000 Belize dollars an hour. I think £1,000 an hour works out to maybe 3,400 Belize dollars an hour. So it is what is charged that the government pays to me, and it is far less than what it could have been required to pay if it had employed somebody such as Lord Goldsmith or some English QC.
So would we be able to get from you an idea of the percentage? Perhaps it's secret information, but the opposition is bringing out a document saying that you were paid $500 and something, which is 20% of a settlement. 500,000. Is that 20%, 500,000? Thank you, Daniel. Is that percentage in keeping with what your law firm will get for the settlements with Fortis and with BTL?
Unfortunately, my brother got scared and refused to pay me a percentage in relation to these matters, and therefore my political friends have done me the disservice of having my fees reduced. So regrettably, no percentage for me.